Hello and welcome to Question Hour, the only show where we get you the latest from the Parliament House, questions asked by the members in the upper house of the Parliament and the answers given by the various ministries of the government. I'm Rajat Kain and joined with my colleague Kriti Mishra.
Thank you so much, Rajat. So let's take our viewers through important questions and answers in this edition of Question Hour.
Well, the first question of the show that was asked by member Vinay P. Sahasrabudhe from the Ministry of Labour and Employment, and he asked how many lawsuits the ministry is facing in various high courts and Supreme Court as on 31st August 2019, and whether ministry has evolved any structured mechanism to minimize the number of lawsuits being filed.
Well, in the reply, the government says that as per the available information, the Ministry of Labour and Employment was facing 18,804 cases in the Supreme Court and various high courts till 31st of August 2019. The government further says that the ministry regularly monitors court cases, and in order to minimize the number of court cases, a robust grievance redressal mechanism has been put in place in the ministry and its organizations to resolve the grievances, complaints of the employees as well as individuals with due care and time-bound manner. Besides, the ministry also complies with the instructions issued by Ministry of Law and Justice in this regard from time to time. And now let's move on to the next question that has been asked by member Anil Agarwal, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And Mr. Agarwal has asked the government whether it has conducted any study to assess the impact of growing pollution on the health of citizens in the cities as well as the rural areas of the country.
But replying to the question, the ministry said that Indian Council of Medical Research under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare along with the Public Health Foundation of India and Institute of Health Metrics and Evolution has conducted a study, India State Level Disease Burden Initiative. The report titled India Health of the Nation State, the Indian State Level Disease Burden Initiative was published in the year 2017. The study report provides distribution of diseases and risk factors across all states of the country from 1990 to 2016. The 5 leading risk factors for disability-adjusted life years in 2016 includes child and maternal malnutrition, air pollution, dietary risks, high systolic blood pressure and high fasting plasma glucose. Well, the study also reported that though the level of exposure in India is among the highest in the world, the DALY due to air pollution increased by 23.6% in India from 1990 to 2016. However, there is no conclusive data in the country to establish direct correlation of disease, death exclusively due to air pollution. The air pollution is one of the factors affecting respiratory ailments and associated diseases. Health effects of air pollution are synergistic manifestation of factors which include food habits, occupational habits, socioeconomic status, medical history, immunity and hereditary of the individual. Well, the next question was asked by members Vaiko and T. Subbarama Reddy from Ministry of Finance, and they sought to know whether the government has set up a GST review committee to augment GST collections and administrations, and what are the details.
Replying to this query, the government says that a committee of officers from centre and states has been constituted to suggest measures to augment GST collection as well as better administration. The committee would consider a wide range of reforms looking into areas such as systemic changes in GST including checks and balances to prevent misuse, measures to improve voluntary compliance, policy measures and relevant changes needed in the law, measures for expansion of tax base, improved compliance monitoring and anti-evasion measures using better data analytics, better administrative coordination between all the units. And now let's move on to the next question that has been asked by member Sushil Kumar Gupta, and this one is also to the Ministry of Finance. And Mr. Gupta has asked the government about the plans to strengthen public sector banks.
When they replied, the government said that it has adopted a comprehensively planned 4-hour strategy of recognizing non-performing assets transparently, resolution and recovery, recapitalizing and reforms. Stressed assets are further recognized transparently as NPAs and expected losses on stressed loans are provided for, and further schemes for restructuring stressed loans were withdrawn. To improve resolution and recovery, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was enacted and number of recovery-related reforms measures effected, enabling recovery of PSBs of Rs 3,83,618 crore over the period from April 2014 to June 2019, including record recovery of 1,27,000 and 1987 crore during the last financial year. To recapitalize, PSB's government infused rupees 3,13,301 crore in PSB since April 2014, and in addition, PSBs have mobilized 76,123 crore from the market. Reforms were effected for enhanced access and service excellence under the PSB reforms agenda, which aimed at improving customer responsiveness, deepening financial inclusion and digitization, serving MSMEs better and enabling credit offtake, besides improved governance, prudential lending, better risk management and technology-driven checks and control. Well, moving on, next question was asked by member Lal Singh Vadoria, and he asked from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare whether it's a fact that research work in country on diseases like tuberculosis, malaria and dengue that mostly affect the poor is negligible.
The response given by the government is in negative, and the government goes on to say that research work on diseases like tuberculosis, malaria and dengue is being supported by Indian Council of Medical Research, also Department of Biotechnology and Department of Science and Technology through various initiatives under national and international research and development programs as indicated thereunder. Now, the launch of malaria elimination research lines is there, special call for research proposals on dengue is there, Mission AMR, major projects for development of vaccines for malaria, tuberculosis and dengue, malaria vaccine development programs, dengue subunit VLP based vaccine candidate, regional prospective observational research for tuberculosis in India under Indo-US vaccine program, and lastly, technology developed by ICGEB New Delhi has been transferred to Sun Pharmaceutical Industries Limited for development of phytopharmaceutical drug for dengue. Let's move on to the last question of this edition of Question Hour, which has been asked by member E. Karim, and this one pertains to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. And the member has asked the government about the states that have implemented and have not implemented the amended Motor Vehicles Act. And also, there's another question related to this, which is whether any change has been made in levying of penalties proposed in the Act by the states, and if so, the details thereof.
For replying to the query, the government said Ministry has not received any information from any state that have not implemented the provisions of Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019. As per Section 200 of Motor Vehicles Act 1988, the state governments may, by notification in the official gazette, specify such amount for compounding certain offences. Now, as per the available information, the government goes on to say for certain offences, Gujarat, Karnataka, Manipur and Uttarakhand have reduced the penalties. Initially, with the coming into force, certain provisions, including enhanced penalties for violations as notified with effect from 1st September 2019, there were initial apprehensions about the implementations, which got settled in due course. And lastly, the government says, during the process of finalization of Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019, detailed and numerous consultations with stakeholders were held. Further, the bill was consulted and deliberated in details in many meetings held by department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Transport, Tourism, Culture and Select Committee of Rajya Sabha. Well, thanks for watching this edition of Question Hour. Don't go anywhere away. Stay tuned for Prashan Kal on the other side.